Welcome to the Realize Podcast, brought to you by Dr. Jacob Wilson and Dr. Jacobi Cleaver, optometrists combining their love for eye care and movies. We pick a movie, watch it, and review it while incorporating elements of optometry as it relates to clinical cases we've encountered in practice, current trends, and recent developments across the optometric industry. Seen any good movies lately? We have.
So sit back, grab a bucket of popcorn and your glasses, and let's have some fun.
Hey, welcome back. We are back with another episode of the Real Eyes Podcast. I'm Dr. Jacobi Cleaver, joined by my friend and colleague, Dr. Jacob Wilson. We're two optometrists that love eye care and love going to the movies. We'll combine the two, and that should make for an interesting episode. I learned about this movie from a post from a colleague in the Optometry on Facebook group.
Yeah, and, that's right for a saw it.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you. I know we were discussing about possibly reviewing this movie. Like it's hard not to because of the cast and the story and everything else. But I had to watch this movie twice. The first time, it didn't do it for me, man. But the second time, it was a little bit better, and we'll kind of get into that. So our movie tonight, our selection this evening is Holland. And I don't think this went to the theaters at all. It just went straight to streaming, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it did. It went right to Prime. And what's funny, one is it's a movie that I think all the optometrists should watch because it's so funny how much they and we'll talk about how much they're in an optometrist's office and all of this but I'm trying to figure out how Nicole Kidman got into this, who wrote this. And do you know what movie this movie kind of gave me a reminder of, at least the vibes? Did you ever see the movie Midsommar?
No, I haven't watched that one.
That's it's a great movie, so you should watch it, but not everyone should watch it. It's a horror movie. So did you ever see Hereditary?
They're right up my alley then. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Did you ever see Hereditary?
I did.
So it's the same director from that. So kind of sick and twisted like that. But the whole movie takes place in daylight, and it's just really bright, and you think things are happy, but they're not. Like,
right.
There's awful things happening. So yeah. Anyways, that's where we're at with this movie, Holland. It's kind of bright and happy. It starts off with Nicole Kidman. She's like wearing this like Dutch bonnet thing. And it's a real town. I looked it up. Holland, Michigan's a real town. And it's just really bizarre how it starts out. And basically what's happening is Nicole Kidman and her husband are kind of like the perfect people, like perfect couple in the town, right? Her husband's the town eye doctor, and she's a teacher, right? Or she at least works at the school. Right. And so yeah, it's kind of, we're just seeing their life and how kind of bizarre it is, bizarre, but also kind of everyday American type of life. Right. What's kind of cool about this movie is, so there's a lot of like, the husband and the wife don't really know what the other one's doing. So the wife has a friend at work who she kind of confides in. And then the husband is always going on these trips. And the trips are always for Alcon, which is a company that makes a lot of different eye products, but he's going for specifically new contact lenses coming out. Now, I've been to some conferences. I go to conferences a lot. I don't go to a conference every week to find out about a new contact lens. Do you?
No, not at all. And
okay.
and just to back up a little bit, man, this movie takes place in the year 2000, if I'm not mistaken.
2000 is what we figured out.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of research. So this movie was actually slated to come out in 2013. And guess who the lead actor? Yeah, the lead actor was supposed to be Bryan Cranston. You may know him from Malcolm in the Middle on TV, or the big breakout was Breaking Bad. So this was supposed to come out right after Breaking Bad had ended. And the part of Nicole Kidman was supposed to be played by Naomi Watts. Yeah, so this is like a 12-year delay, or whatever else. I found that to be pretty interesting. I just wanted to bring that, be sure I brought that up. But no, like about I love going to optometry conferences, and optometry has a ton of conferences that you can go to. Very both the national conferences and the more local ones. I don't go to a conference every week. Not like Fred was going to these conferences. Well, he was billing them as conferences, but in the movie he was saying there was more so Alcon training sessions, right? Or
Yeah.
contact lenses or whatever else. But again, and we'll be remiss not to mention this, that in the year 2000 was pretty big for Alcon. So that was when they released the Opti-Free Replenish first no rub contact lens solution. And they released the first FDA approved, and I think it's still the only FDA approved 30-day continuous night and day wear contact lens, which is still on the market today. Air Optics night and day. So a pretty big, pretty big year in 2000 for old Alcon out there, man. So
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense in line with the story. So maybe he is getting training for
These 90-day contacts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was going on before 2000? People's eyes were just stinging every time they used contact lens solution.
Well, no, the solution that they would have to use was, and I can't remember what they had on. I'm sure Alcon had one on the market prior to Replenish coming out, but that's when you would have to physically go and take the lens and put it in the solution and rub it back and forth for a few seconds.
Oh, no rub. I was thinking like it didn't bother, like no rub.
Oh no, yeah, this is straight up. Hey, you don't have to do any of this extra wiping, rubbing the lens down and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but so that was pretty big deal, and of course, Opti-Free Replenish is still on the market today. Still does pretty well. So yeah, but no, this movie takes place in 2000, which was a huge year for eye care and Alcon, obviously.
I wonder that they must have talked to him, or that's so funny. Alcon, I like Alcon. They that's the contact lens I wear, the Precision one. That contact lens, that's my favorite one. And they just came out with the Precision 7. Have you heard about those?
Yeah, they just released it. What conference did we just come
too.
from? Yeah, they just made a splash about it at AOA Optometrist.
At OM? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a continuous wear one for a week. So that's going to be interesting if that modality, see if that modality catches on, where you wear it for a week and then throw it out.
Yeah,
that's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, you know what? And obviously, as I've gotten a little bit older, I just prefer to wear my glasses now. But the contacts I wear are the Alcon Daily Total ones, which I do like quite a bit. I know that that's the successor to the precision ones or whatever else, man. But I just like the idea of daily wear. Put them on in the morning, take them out before you go to bed, throw them in the trash. And even though I don't fit a lot of contact lenses in my practice, it's still important to have these conversations with patients, especially if you're catching a kid that may be getting into, interested in getting into contact lenses for the first time, right? So, just discuss the different modalities. And, anytime that I don't have to keep up with a case or solution, then that's going to be the path of least resistance is the path I'm going to take, right? So, and I have some, and they're pretty comfortable throughout the day. Now, we can get into the do's and don'ts of contact lenses. Not swimming in them, don't shower in them, don't share them, don't clean them.
Yeah.
Don't put them in your mouth to clean them. Don't share them with pit friends. Just the crazy stuff. And I wouldn't mention
definitely don't share them. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely don't share them. But they Alcon's very optometry friendly. They make a bunch of products, and of course they also make products on the ophthalmology side as far as surgical machinery and tools and that kind of thing. But no, they've been enforcing the game for quite some time, and they'll continue to do so as we move forward, man. And I know they used to, and I'm not sure if you had the chance to go as a fourth year or a resident, that they used to host people at Fort Worth at the headquarters out there.
I never went, but I had friends that went and did that. I've been outside of it and seen that giant eye. Is that where the giant eyeball is?
I don't know if that's where the giant eyeball is or not. Because somebody told me that giant eyeball is just a sculpture.
Oh, it was nighttime and we were downtown. My aunt took us. I was like, I always see people take pictures of that at the Alcon conference, but it might have just been an art piece that's down there.
Yeah, I think that eyeball is pretty close to the Dallas Mavericks Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a pretty busy area anyway. But Alcon has a huge campus out there. I remember going as a student, and it's really nice, man. So if you ever have the chance to go and ever invite you out there, any of the students ask you, I know they usually offer you this opportunity as a fourth year or a resident. You definitely have to take advantage of that. It's a good time. It's a fantastic time.
Yeah, you guys should. Yeah, so Alcon, shout out to Alcon. We love it.
Yeah.
Don't share your contacts. That's one of the more disturbing things
Not
I've
to mention
heard.
it's disgusting too.
Yeah, so and no contact lens, I have to say, is completely safe to sleep in, and you got to treat things with respect. So
Right.
just
Right.
be careful with those. And I just saw an Acanthamoeba patient today, not active Acanthamoeba, but she had it a couple years ago, and
Mm.
she's having some graft rejection from the corneal transplant.
Oh, now Jacob, we got to kind of go into Acanthamoeba then. So, that's a
Yeah,
pretty. It's although it's pretty rare, it's probably easily one of the most um, concerning eye conditions out there. It's hard.
top three scariest thing I think that can happen.
Yeah, it's difficult to treat. I mean, it's most often going to result in a solution that is not favorable. Whether even if you save the eye, then the vision's probably going to be destroyed or reduced or something like that. So
Right.
why don't you give
Yeah.
the audience a quick breakdown of Acanthamoeba?
Yeah, so it's a protozoa. So there's different things that can infect the eye, right? We have bacterial infections, which are probably the most common, viral infections, fungal infections, and we have treatments for all of those. I mean, fungal infections are still really tough if you get that in the cornea. You need to deal with the cornea specialist pretty quickly if you get one of those. But Acanthamoeba is a different type of organism completely, and it's the most common place to get it is from water, if I'm not mistaken. So, you don't ever want to rinse your contacts in water if you're out of solution. You don't want a hot tub in your contact lenses or anything like that. If you get this infection, it's going to be extremely painful. But what will happen, or what can happen, and it gets misdiagnosed a lot, because when you come in, the patient is in so much pain, but there's not a lot of signs on the cornea of what's really
Right.
going on. It actually, it can look pretty mild compared to what's really going on at
Right.
first. And a mistake that a lot of ODs and OMDs can make is putting a steroid on it initially to try and help, because they think something else is going on. And if a steroid goes on Acanthamoeba, the chances of treating it just go way, way down. And so basically it's extremely aggressive. You got to get with a cornea specialist. There's a few different drugs that they can try, but a lot of times these patients end up needing a corneal transplant, a partial or full corneal transplant eventually,
Right.
to stop it from spreading elsewhere and to try and get some vision back. And I haven't seen much success.
Yeah, I haven't seen one. I haven't seen one in my clinic. Recently, there was a story about a social media influencer who has a pretty big following, and I can't remember. It happened,
Yeah.
You remember that? Yeah, she ended up losing the eye and had to do cornea transplants and these kind of things. But unfortunately, it's not the best outcome for her. But from a public awareness standpoint, she didn't have to share any of what she was going through, but she did. And I can't even tell you how many students sent me that article saying, I've seen this on social media, this site, this, that, and the third, man. And like, yeah, because public awareness does help. And I think and like I said, I don't wish any misfortune on anyone, but I think if you can see that these things do happen, then a light bulb goes off in your head and say, man, yeah, this could possibly happen to me. Maybe I should do a better job of disinfecting my contact lenses or wearing them like I should be, changing them out like I should be, and not swimming in them and all this other stuff. But that could be so devastating. I hate that she's going through that, but I'm glad that she shared her journey.
Yeah, I thought it was good. And, because I have friends, I won't just say patients, I have friends who just sleep in their contacts, and they know I'm an eye doctor. They know it's going to make me mad if they tell me that. But they're like, what are the chances that that's actually going to happen? I've been doing it for years and nothing's happened. And it just takes one time.
Yeah.
You've just been lucky enough not to get an Acanthamoeba or something else in there. And most of the time, people who do that have had a few infections. they've just been bacterial infections they've gotten treated. But if you get one of these, and I've had some fungal ones too, that they're so hard to take care of. And then cornea stuff is so difficult for the rest of your life if something happens with your cornea. A lot of times you end up needing to be in a specialty contact called a scleral lens to really get any vision, which are great tools, and I'm glad we have them as optometrists. But you can avoid a lot of stuff by following the proper guidelines. So, but okay, we'll leave you guys alone. But yeah, that's shout out to Alcon for making good, safe contacts. Follow their instructions for sure. So. But yeah, that's Acanthamoeba, and I'm guessing that Fred was going to learn how to fight Acanthamoeba at all these Alcon conferences. I don't know, but I wonder how much they knew about Acanthamoeba in 2000. I know.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding.
But yeah, so he's going to all these conferences, and his wife's like, he's going every week to these conferences. What's going on? And then he finds a ticket from Madison, Wisconsin, or she finds a ticket from Madison, Wisconsin, one of his tickets, and she's like, I thought he said he was in like this place in Iowa or something like that. And so she's like, I'm getting suspicious. And she tells this guy that she's friends with, I think he might be having an affair. And they're kind of going back. And it's a really funny relationship she has with this guy.
It's weird, man.
Yeah. And also, I'm trying to figure this guy out because, we'll get to it. He has some kind of past that he doesn't want to talk about.
Right.
And he also knows how to jerry rig windows so you can break into them and stuff. But it's just, I wish we could have found out more about him. But I don't know. So anyways, they start coming up with these plans and how they're going to catch Fred. And Fred's he's like a leader at the local church and in the community. Right. He's everyone's doctor in town. So, he has this, persona, whether it's a facade or not, where he's kind of Mr. Perfect. And so they want to go and find out if he's cheating. They're taking down part of the town if they do this. And so, but she wants to know, she has a son with him. She wants to know, is my husband going out and cheating on me? And that's what she's suspecting this whole time.
Right.
Right. And so, they do a couple things. There's a pretty funny scene where he goes to get an eye. The friend of hers goes to get an eye exam from Fred.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, his name is Dave.
Dave goes to get an eye exam from Fred. And did you notice how long Fred left him in the slit lamp? So I was like, every optometrist had to notice that right away, right? Usually, so the slit lamp, for anyone that's a machine that the doctor tells you to put your chin on, and then they look at your eyes, right? The entire time that they're at this eye exam, Fred is just in the slit lamp. He never pulls it away, never does anything. Dave is in the slit lamp the entire time. Fred just leaves him there, and it looks so uncomfortable. And can you imagine doing that to your patient? And then that's all he does. He looks at his eyes, takes a little light like that a couple times, and he goes, "All right, your eyes look perfect. I didn't see any glasses prescription or anything." Then he puts the eye drops in. I don't know about you, but I felt like he held those eye drops pretty much just put the eye drops on his eyes to put the eye drops in Dave's eye, which is probably another great way to get Acanthamoeba, to be honest. If you're just going to stick an eye drop on someone's eyes. But it's pretty funny. So the reason Dave is there, though, is so that he can kind of jimmy the window in the bathroom of the optometry office so that him and Nicole Kidman can break in later that night. Right. So he's all nervous, and he's all nervous because apparently so again, this guy's just an enigma. We don't know what's going on with him, but he's all nervous because there's a cop that's there to get an eye exam too. So after he gets his eyes dilated, he's like, "Where's the bathroom?" He's all nervous, and he sees the cop, and he's all nervous about the cop and everything. He goes in, figures out how to jimmy rig the window, and so it can be left open for that night. And then he comes out, sees the cop, he's all scared, and then the dilation's starting to set in. And it's so funny because I feel like there's a little bit of a misconception about what dilation does to your eyes. Well, and it's different for each person, right? Depending on if you're farsighted, nearsighted, how old you are, and everything. But it's funny, his vision's kind of starting to black out, and he like can't see while he's trying to get out of the optometrist's office, and you hear the front desk lady say, "Hey, come back. You need a retina check."
Yeah, you need to get the check. You're not done yet.
Yeah. And he's just leaving, which I think we've all had happen, right? Patients that just leave. Yeah, and it's like, okay, I mean, I guess like I didn't give you your prescription. I never give them their prescription until after the exam, right? But like that just I don't know where you went or why, but yeah, they'll just leave while they're waiting for their eyes to dilate. But yeah, but he didn't really care about getting an eye exam. He just wanted to fix the window so they could break in. So then he starts like running across the street, and he's going blind because apparently the eye drops that he put in were some kind of blinding eye drops.
That's because that's what they do, I guess.
Yeah. So he's running around, and then the cop is coming after him, and he's so scared. And the cop is like, "Sir, wait!" And he stops him, and the cop's like, "You forgot? Was it his hat? I think he forgot his hat or his sunglasses or something." That's what it was. He's like, "Promise me you won't drive for at least 30 minutes." Which, whatever. Dilation usually shouldn't really affect your driving, except for how bright the sun's going to be for the most part. Also, it lasts longer than 30 minutes, so just a couple things there, but whatever. Right. It was a cool shout out to an eye exam.
It was pretty close.
Yeah. It was a cool shout out to an eye exam. And
before you continue, when he was in the restroom, I was just thinking while I was watching the movie, like, damn, that is a big restroom. Like, how big is his office? It just felt like the restroom was just out of proportion, huge, right? I mean,
yeah, it was like a full man-sized window too that you could easily climb in and out of, which I haven't seen in very many doctors' offices. But hey, that's so. But it's funny, and Fred is supposed to be going on. No, never mind. Nicole Kidman told Fred she was going somewhere with a girlfriend tonight.
Yes.
Right. So he's expecting her to be gone. What she's really doing is breaking into Fred's optometry office with Dave. And they do that. They break in, and they find some like some materials that are like clues to addresses and things like that, but no like smoking guns on what really is going on. But the funny thing that happens is while they're breaking in, Fred gets a call from a patient and finds out that her son's contact lens is stuck in his eye again. Apparently this has happened a few times. We all have that patient. I had one last week that they probably shouldn't be wearing contacts because they get it stuck in their eye every couple of weeks. Now, would you, and he says, "Come in, meet me in the office right now." So this might be some small town optometry stuff, but would you meet a patient at 9 or 10 o'clock on a Friday night to take a contact lens out of their night? Or out of their eye? Just
probably so, man. I was when I did my residency at the Amarillo VA hospital, I shared a call with the other two optometrists there.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think that's now Amarillo is not a very big place, but it's not a small place either. But you're serving a specific population with the VA, right? So I probably would have met them up there. I know we have a lot of colleagues in private practice who do take these kind of calls, even if they feel it is an emergency, then they'll just run over to the office or have them come first thing in the morning or whatever else. But I think it is important that the patient is seen, to be honest with you. And plus, you never know what's going on until you take a look.
Because it might not be a contact lens that's stuck in there. It could be something else going on. Could be Acanthamoeba. We've talked about that.
Or it could be nothing at all. Who knows? But we got to take. We got to take a look. We got to take a look.
Now, and I guess that I don't take call where I work right now. What I will do is that the ER doctors will kind of message us on our kind of like EHR system, and we'll give advice through there. But I don't, since I work at a hospital, I don't think I necessarily have privileges always to come in after hours or to see an inpatient and things like that. Our ophthalmologist generally takes.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we didn't have any ophthalmologists at the VA when I was.
Gotcha.
So that makes total sense.
But yeah, if you're a private practice owner, especially in a small town, I guess what else are you going to do, right? For your patient, they got to get seen. You're going to send them to the ER and give them a $3,000 bill to get a contact lens taken out, So I thought it was probably pretty true to what a small town private practice owner would be doing.
Even if not a small town, maybe maybe just the area that they serve in the city or whatever else, or maybe a
Yeah.
rural type setup. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, so he comes in. It leads to a pretty funny scene where Dave's having to hide while Fred's in there seeing his patient and everything. Turns out the patient that comes in, the mom of the patient, is the girlfriend that Nicole Kidman said she was going out of town with. So
Correct.
she gets caught in that lie pretty quickly. So now Fred is pretty suspicious of Nicole Kidman, right?
Right.
And so now they're suspicious of each other. Like, what's going on? You know? And Nicole Kidman is starting to have a love affair with Dave, by the way.
Right.
So what's Nicole Kidman's name? I should probably stop calling her Nicole Kidman. I don't remember
I
what
think
her name
her name
is.
in the movie was Nancy.
Nancy, there you go.
Yeah.
Nan, that's right. He calls her Nan at one point. Yeah, Nancy. So so he's pretty suspicious. But she did find these, all these addresses, like these like
Hmm.
magazines, address things, and she's pretty suspicious. She's trying to figure out what's going on. And what Fred does is he buys her this like really nice piece of jewelry, and like to surprise her and like make her happy. But what he's really doing, he's kind of strong-handing her, kind of threatening her, like,
Hmm.
"Hey, we have a good thing here. Don't mess it up."
Right.
Like you don't want to know what's going on here. Don't mess it up. And and Dave's pretty freaked out, and so they're kind of like, okay, we're gonna leave it alone for right now. We don't want to bother Fred anymore right now. Something's going on, but whatever. We're gonna leave it alone. But he keeps going on these conferences, and it comes up again where Dave wants to be with Nancy.
Yeah.
That's where they want to be together. But there's no way they're going to be able to do this without her losing her son, because Fred is like the pillar of the community. There's no way that a court's going to side with her if she runs off with another man. So they need to catch Fred in the act of cheating and frame him.
Right.
And so that becomes their plan. So if they can do that, they can just make him quietly go away. She doesn't lose all her money, all this. She doesn't lose a kid, any of that. They don't lose their reputation.
Right. Which was a kind of the switch in the plot. So it goes from her thinking that he's having an affair to her hoping that he's having an affair. So so she can be with Dave, which was just weird, just a weird thought. Like, no, we have
It
to
was
catch
so
him.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, like we have to catch him because then I can take my son. Like, it's just such a weird process, because at this point we don't know what Fred is doing. Right, we know he's going to conferences, or at least he said he's going to conferences, but he hadn't made any indication that he's having an affair at all. But just to back up, when as Fred is leaving the optometry office from the emergency call, he finds a piece of
the earring that was missing.
Nancy's jewelry out there, and he gives it to her. So that's when he gives her the other piece of jewelry and everything else, and kind of strong arms her. But like you said, now he's getting suspicious of her. What is she doing? He doesn't say anything about her cheating, but she's already suspicious of him. And if you're listening, you can't see me do the air quotes, but she knows that he's cheating, but she doesn't have any proof. So now they're just going to lean into this full, that 100% say, we're going to catch this guy cheating, and then we can run off and be happy together in the sunset. Nancy and Dave going to just ride off with the kid in the sunset and be the happy lives and love each other and all that jazz.
Yep, and we now at this point get to see Dave's strange set of skills that he has from this past life that we know nothing about, where he just knows how to follow Fred without being seen. He knows how to he knows what he's doing. He knows how to set up surveillance and figure out where Fred is going, and so he follows him to wherever this conference that he said he was going to is. He's following. Nancy goes with him, or does she go with him originally, or no? He has Nancy come down later, right? So they can both, and then Fred figures out, okay, he's not actually going to a conference. He's going somewhere, and I'm going to follow him this one morning. So he follows him. It's just Dave following Fred. They end up out in the boonies at this like lake house, right? And you see Fred at the door, and you see this attractive young woman let Fred in. You're like, okay, this is it. He's catching him having an affair. He really is having an affair, but he's so good at keeping up this perfect life that none of us could tell it was actually happening. But he really is just having an affair.
Right.
And so Dave has a camera, old school camera or 2000s camera. And he quietly breaks into the house while he assumes that Fred and this lady are in a back room, having the affair. And it's funny, there's these weird Pomeranians.
And there's a lot of them too.
It's like 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, a lot of them, yeah.
And they just are looking at him. They're not barking or anything. And that's the most unrealistic part of the movie, I think. I had a Pomeranian as a kid, and it was the yappiest, most barking dog ever. So the fact that these dogs didn't bark.
They're active. They're active. But to rewind, Dave breaks into Fred's room and he sees that he has just this bag of miscellaneous items, right? And one of the items in the bag was some dog food. So we go back to what you was talking about. The dogs wasn't barking because they was in there eating, which is I don't own a Pomeranian, but they bark a lot. They bark a lot.
Yeah. I guess I didn't catch the dog food part. Yeah, so that maybe was part of Fred's plan to keep the dogs quiet.
Yeah, because Dave calls Nancy and said, yeah, he's got some dog food in here, and she's like, "What's the dog food for?" So then that's what we come to find out that's what it was for.
And he's also got a bunch of handcuffs and what it really looks like is a bunch of kinky sex stuff, which for the church going doctor in this small town is that's taboo enough. And then 25 years ago, I think that was even more taboo, right? So there's not many people who are gonna be too accepting of this. So that's weird enough, right?
Right.
In the setting of this movie, he gets there. Dave gets there. He doesn't have to sneak past the dogs. They really aren't that interested in him. They're just eating. Right. He walks past the dogs. He hears some commotion, maybe some moaning and stuff going on in the back room, or some heavy breathing. And so he's like, yeah, this is it. I'm going to film the affair that's happening. He opens the door, and Fred is murdering this young woman, which is, and now, to be fair, I knew that was going to happen a little bit. I knew he was going to end up being a murderer. Did you know, though, when you first watched it, that's what was going to happen at all?
No.
Okay,
not at all. At this point, I was kind of hoping he was just having an affair. He said, he's going to town just killing her, man. Just wow.
Yeah, and it's pretty gory, right? And what's funny, if you really think about it, this might be a movie that's just right up our alley. It's about an optometrist, and it's about murder, but you don't know it's going to be about murder before you go in. It's kind of the last thing you expect.
Right.
But yeah, and then Fred sees him, right? And so Fred stops what he's doing. The girl's already dead, or close to it at least.
Yeah, he didn't waste any time killing her.
It's like a minute or two, it seemed. Yeah, so that must be what he likes to do is just kill him. Because a lot of times with these serial killers or movies and things, there's other sexual aspects to it and things, but it seems like he just wanted to kill her, and that's all he was there for.
Right.
And at least who knows what he was gonna do, but then there's a scuffle and there's a fight, and they're going back and forth, and the fight spills out onto the dock that's out in front of the lake house. And finally, he's able to stab Fred. Dave stabs Fred and pushes him into the water, where he presumably dies and drowns. Right. So Dave is pretty freaked out. Right. At the same time that all of this is happening, and I'll tell you, we talked about a different movie on the last earlier in the podcast. She's figuring out at home. Nancy's figuring out Fred has all of these creepy figurine model houses, and it's like this neighborhood that he's been building. Right.
With this elaborate toy train setup. Right. So it's like a train riding through this neighborhood. It almost reminds me of the first Beetlejuice when they were
or even the new Beetlejuice.
So he has this big nice toy model train, has all these different neighborhoods, but continue.
Well, what's horrifying about it is every person that lives in a house as a woman has a name, right? And kind of a little bit of a backstory. And she starts doing some research, because the girl he thinks that she thinks he's having an affair with, she calls and tries to get this information. and finds out this woman went missing a few years ago.
Right. Like, and so the
That's
person on the other end on the phone is like, "Is this a joke? Like,
Nope.
have you
Yeah.
not been paying attention?" Or yeah. So yeah, he's really about to go off on Nancy about this. He thinks it's like
And
a
she's
fun
like,
problem.
and she's like, no, I'm a high school friend. We've lost contact. What happened? And she finds out, oh, she's been missing. And then they found her body. She had been like brutally murdered.
Right.
And so now she's going through this house. Well, she's going through the toy houses. And the reason she found that name is because it was the name of one of the women in the toy houses,
Yep.
right? In the little model houses. But then she's going through, and every woman in this model house has died and gone missing, and is from an area where Fred had said he'd gone on a conference.
Yep.
And so she's putting it together. And so finally, when Dave calls her, she's like, please tell me I'm not right. Please tell me he's not hurting people. And he's like, no, he is hurting people. I saw it happen.
Yep.
But he's like, but you don't have to worry about that now, because basically Fred's dead. But they don't want to go down for murdering Fred, so they're going to just sweep it all under the rug.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do.
Yeah,
But
this plan is just airtight, man. This is just there's no holes in this plan at all, man. This is going to work.
But to back up a second, do you remember what movie I said this movie reminded me of at the beginning of the episode?
You said Midsummer, right?
Midsummer, yeah.
Mm.
The other movie that director did was Hereditary.
Right.
And do you remember the hobby of the mom in that movie?
She didn't do figurines, did she?
Yeah, she did little, right? She did little figurine houses
Really?
and yards and gardens and all that. Yeah. And they're really creepy, you know, and they kind of have
Man, wait until I tell Ash that, man.
Yeah. Hereditary, if you're a horror fan, you've probably seen Hereditary. Honestly, it's one of those movies, but if you haven't, you got to go watch it. If you're not a horror fan, please don't watch that movie.
Right? Yeah,
it's gonna scar you. But yeah, so that's where we're at. We get back, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna act like nothing happened. He's missing. We don't know what's going on," and they have this whole plan. But then they go to the town's festival, and what is the festival?
Ah, man, what was it called?
It's the Dutch festival. The Tulip Festival. There you go.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yep.
And so the whole thing about this town is it's like a Dutch. I don't know if it's a Dutch settlement or it's like a tribute to a Dutch town. Mm-hmm. There's a similar. If you've ever been to kind of like Central Coast California, there's a similar city called Solvang. That's a really cool, fun town to go to. It was kind of like that, you know. So, in this festival, they have all the food and chocolate and tulips and clogging. There's dancing with the clog shoes and all of that. But both of them are starting to get hints that Fred is still around. They both think that they see Fred. They're hearing things about him being there, and they're kind of starting to freak out. And so finally, Dave meets up with Nancy at the house, and he's like, "We got to go." He's like, "I think something's going on. We got to go." They have a little bit of a scuffle, and what ends up happening, it's an accident, but she makes Dave hit his head, and he kind of gets knocked out. Right. And so you don't really know what's going on there. And then at that moment, she goes in the other room, and her son was in the other room, and she didn't want her son to have seen that fight she had with Dave.
Right.
But her son's not in there. And she's like, "Where is he?" And she looks out, and out by the lake is her son sitting with Fred. So somehow, you know, and just like in any killer in any movie, the first stab didn't kill him, right? So it's Scream is the movie that you always have to do a headshot, right? Yeah. So, and they didn't do that. So he's still alive. He's showing his son how to fish or something. And she walks up to him, and he's just looking pretty menacing, you know, and he's like, "We got to go." And they get in the car, and they're going, and she distracts him somehow, you know, and Fred, you know, you're really scared for Nancy here, because Fred, obviously we've seen what he can do to women, and now Nancy's kind of become a problem and disposable to him, so you're wondering what's going to happen. But she's able to distract him, and she stabs him with something. I don't know if it's does she stab him or just she stabs him with something.
They're kind of struggling over a gun. The gun goes off and grazes Fred across.
Right, that's what it is.
Yep.
Takes off his ear, and that's pretty. Those are some pretty nasty practical effects there where the bullet took off
Yeah.
his ear. But anyway, she tells her son to run, and her son runs away, right? And then there's a struggle in the car between Nancy and Fred. Fred falls out of the car, but then he gets back up because it's just he's grazed, and then she gets the upper hand on him, and she just beats Fred to death with one of the dancing clog shoes,
right?
Which I thought was a pretty funny note to end the movie on there. Pretty funny. So she beats him to death, and the son comes running around, and poor kid sees his dad like that and everything.
Right.
She hugs him, and they go back and get Dave, and they go on their way. So they go on. I don't know if they go on to live a happy life, but they go on to live a life.
Right. It was, I don't know. Like I said, the second time around, I enjoyed the movie more. I still think this is a one that all optometrists should watch, but just
I think
sure,
so.
Yeah. I mean, just be careful because it does have some scary parts off in it if you're not a fan of
Yeah, they're scary, but they're like, you know what though? They're like Lifetime movie scary.
Yeah. I would say it's more suspense than anything, right? So when I was watching this, and I kind of like to pay attention to the score in movies like this because it's supposed to represent a time. So there was a song in there called by Freak Nasty called "The Dip." When she dipped, I dip, we dip, and then they played. And then they played DMX Party Up in here, up in right. So I was watching this with Ash. Like, no way that those two songs came out in the same year. Looked it up. Lo and behold, man, both of those same songs came out in 2000. Wild.
Like these songs are that old.
Man. Yeah, seriously, man. and that was one. And of course, DMX. Rest in peace. He had a bunch of hits, but that was one of his biggest hits to date. And I found out on social media about a few weeks ago that was actually one of the verses in that song is actually a diss verse towards Corrupt. The rapper out of who used to run with Snoop Dogg and everything else. Thank God for social media or whatever else. But there's also a scene in there where they show a movie. Do you remember what movie they were showing on the screen?
Yeah, I do. Oh, I should have written that down immediately. Did I write that down? Hold on a second, because I just remembered I have Holland notes and I haven't been using them. So, okay, let's see here. Okay, I put DMX as a great touch. Oh no! What movie was it?
Oh yeah, whenever Nancy was in the kitchen, I guess she was making something to eat, but they had Mrs. Doubtfire on the TV.
Yes,
they had Mrs. Doubtfire come out in 2000. That came out in like '93 or something like that.
It came out in '93.
That was a fantastic movie too. To the great late Robin Williams, who really.
I wonder if. Oh, I love Robin Williams so much. That's such a tragedy, man. But I wonder if the reason they did that movie is because the dad was, why they showed that. I wonder if the deeper meaning, the dad was pretending to be something he wasn't. And, and I don't know. I don't know if the director was thinking that much, but probably directors think that much about the movies they make. So I don't know. That's interesting. That's a great movie. This is Doubtfire. I had some other notes about the movie. I put there's a comment about a conversation that Fred has at a bar where someone asked him why he became an optometrist, and his parents said, "Well, people have eyes and they have teeth, so pick one. And he basically says he likes optometry better than dentistry, which.
It's funny that you bring that up because even in the Facebook group today, somebody posed that exact question: optometry or dentistry? And
just today.
Hey, I'm okay with the decision I made, brother. Now hats off to dentists and oral surgeons and everything, but that's not my speed, man. Not my speed at all. I'm comfortable with my decision.
I'm not hopping in anyone's mouth. I'm okay.
No.
But some of the points on there were, on a more serious note, I guess, were valid about, dentistry has done a great job at marketing themselves, where maybe we've fallen short in the last 30, 40 years. I don't know where they, there's a lot of things we talked about AI. There's not a lot of things I think where AI could take over dentistry. They get reimbursed a lot better. So there are some things there, but dentistry school, but from what I understand, school's not as enjoyable, and their student debt ends up being a lot higher a lot of times, but they make a little bit more money too, or they can make a lot more money. But there's a lot of money to be made in optometry. It's not the same way it used to be, that you have to be a little more creative with it nowadays. So yeah, I think that's an interesting conversation, but there's not an amount of money that's going to get me working in people's mouths or really any part of the body besides the eyes. Anywhere besides the eyes. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the group posed a lot of great points. With one being, the debt to income ratio, which is just something which, when you go back and could you imagine what you was doing at 18 years old, and then to go through undergrad and then be ready to make a decision about the rest of your life? Like that's a lot. That's quite a bit. I have mentees that are in dental school, and they're doing well, and she seems to really, really enjoy it. But to that same notion, I have mentees in optometry school that are enjoying it just as much as well. So I think it's just about what you see yourself doing it, but doing it in the future for the next 20, 30, 40 years, right? But this is why shadowing is so important.
Yeah, you got to go. You got to go shadow. You got to do
your research. Any profession without at least having some working knowledge of it. Now, do you need to know everything about it? No, but you need to have seen it in action and give it a lot of time seeing it in action, not just on the good days, on the bad days, and the busy days and the not so busy days, right? So you can get a full scope of everything. And also, specifically in optometry, like if you're interested in optometry, follow a pediatric optometrist, follow an optometrist that works in a tertiary care center, private practice versus corporate, all those things. It makes a huge difference. Or academia on top of that. I don't want to forget about our academia, for instance.
No, and that might be what you love. And pay is not, you can make money in the field you want to go into, because I see a lot of people, like, if you want to take a corporate job and you can make a lot of money and see a lot of patients during the day, that's a great way to go. But that's not the only way to make money in optometry. Right. So, learn from a lot of different doctors about how you want to do things. And but yeah, that's kind of a tangent. But I thought that was a fun conversation in the movie.
One of the comments and I'll just leave with this. One of the comments that our colleagues made that was for optometry is that, man, the scope is still expanding within our field, right? So that's something to look forward to. Like even when I came out of school, and I graduated in 2011. I don't want to date myself too much, but I think at the time maybe Oklahoma and Kentucky were doing lasers, maybe. But now we're up to what? Yeah, and 13, what are we up to now? 13, 14 states.
I think
doing
13.
Lasers. Yeah. So that makes a huge deal, and that's a lot of growth within the last decade or so. Specifically within the last 5 to 7 years, really. So
even if you want to go last 3 or 4 years, it's been there's been big ones. So hey, if it makes you feel better, I graduated in 2011 also from high school.
You got me, man. Hey, man, but man, I enjoyed Holland enough to give it. I don't know, maybe it probably would have hit a little bit different if it came out in 2013. But I want to know if they would have set the time in. The time would have had to be 2013. I would think, like they wouldn't fast forward to 2020. I don't think, but
well, I'm also wondering if because one of the things I'm going to do here is give a shout out to some people, but I wonder if Holland has grown a lot in population since 2000, because it looks like when I'm looking it up, I'm seeing like 4 different optometry offices there. I wonder if 25 years ago there was just one. So I wonder if doing it 25 years ago made it a little more. They could make the optometrist the center of the town a little bit. I don't know. If that's why they decided to do it back then.
Also, whenever just go back into the movie whenever Fred is in the when Fred is in the office with the emergency patient and his mom. And he made the comment and said, "Oh, I thought you guys were going shopping out of town." And then the mom said, "Are you kidding me? With gas being $2.50 a gallon?"
Yep.
Man, I would kill for gas to be $2.50 a gallon right now, man.
But what's funny is that kind of puts it in perspective because we get really worried about gas prices. That's not that much inflation, depending on where you live from 25 years, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
correct. Because that's in Holland, right? So we have to kind of take into account.
I wonder what gas prices are like in Holland. Yeah. I wonder what gas prices are like in Holland. But yeah, $2.50, I'll take that. Yeah. In LA, I think the cheapest I found has been like $4.40 the last couple months.
Wow, man, really?
Yeah, LA's And then downtown, like right where Jenny, my wife, works, kind of in like a wealthier part of town, and the gas is literally $7 a gallon there. And I wonder if it's just because people are so rich that they just don't look. Because you see all these Lambos and things drive by. I'm like, maybe they just don't look at gas prices.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you drive in a Lambo, you're not putting regular unleaded in there.
You shouldn't be. You should be worried about gas. Yeah, that's the last.
No. You got a lot of things to worry about. Gas isn't one of them. If you drive in a Lambo, one can only hope. One can only hope. One day, maybe we'll see. No, so before we close out, man, what would you give this out of 10 eyes? What would you give it?
Just because it's so niche to the things that I enjoy, murder and optometry, I think I got to give it like a 6 because maybe actual quality of the movie 4 around there, but just how close it struck to home. Not that I enjoy murder, but I like horror movies. Just how close it struck to home. I gotta give it a 6 out of 10. I
Yeah,
think.
that's right where I am with it as well. I felt a lot of it was pretty. I don't know. It was a head nod to optometry, and I appreciate that. Now
cool.
I don't like that Fred ends up chopping someone's head off at the end, and I'm hoping that none of our colleagues out there are doing anything remotely close to that. But yeah, I would give it a 6. For any optometrist or any student out there listening, give it a watch. Give it a watch. Most people have Amazon Prime already. The Prime comes with. The Prime Video comes with the Prime service that you sign up. Just stream it one day.
You don't have to pay anything extra for it. I mean, if you have Prime, the chances of there being a serial killing optometrist out there are pretty low, but they're not zero. There at any given time, there's about 50 to 100 serial killers in the U.S. There's about 40,000 optometrists in the U.S. So there could potentially, at some point in the history of our profession, be some overlap. I hope we never find out.
Yeah.
But I hope what this shows everybody is that we are multifaceted individuals. We're not just eye doctors. We're regular people. We could be anything, all the way up to and including, I won't even finish it, but and be careful for this guy in this movie is just too perfect. He never swears. He never, he's like the leader of the church. He's like on all the town councils. Watch out for people like that. If people never show you their cracks, that means they're really covering something up. So, no, I don't know, but that's just what I thought. If it's too good to be true, it probably is too good.
It probably is. It probably is, man. A 6 is about where it falls with me. When I watch it.
Well,
again,
where'd you put it?
Yeah, I give it a 6.
Okay.
I still think it's a nod to optometry and kind of what we do in the office. With him specifically taking the emergency calls. I felt things were
that was cool.
accurate. They glazed over the importance of dilation, even though Dave didn't stick around to get that done, and the receptionist was yelling at him to come back. So,
the receptionist was very passionate, so that helped. It's important.
We love that retina health, man. We gotta check it out. It does take it out. Oh, you know what? It was this, and I didn't even think about this. I would wonder when did the Optimap come on the scene?
Oh, after that, right?
Yeah,
they didn't have it back.
It had to be, right?
I would think so. Yeah, I bet, but they probably had, like the TopCon, like
Oh,
old
right,
Retina
right.
cameras and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if they had any wide field stuff. But I don't know. That would be interesting to do kind of some research on.
Yeah,
But I
maybe
don't
we can
know.
do like a bonus stakes or something and really dive down and do like a timeline of stuff, man. But no,
Yeah.
I think this one will be fun if we let's just say if we come across a colleague or something who wants to be on the show, let's tax them on watching this one specifically.
Yes. Yeah. No, if you want, yeah, this is if you want to be on the show, mandatory. You gotta write us a 3-page single space report on
Yeah,
Holland.
about all things Holland. We want to
Uh-huh.
know about the town, the population. We want to know about the movie. Hey, and we want to know about the timeline of products, specifically from Alcon, since Alcon gets a lot of love in this movie, right?
Yeah, that's good. And only Alcon, which I thought was cool. They must have talked to them. The movie.
They had to. They had to.
They don't mention anyone else. No Bosch and Lomb, Cooper, nothing else gets mentioned. Just Alcon.
Yeah, and man, back then it wasn't even Johnson and Johnson, man. It was Vistacon back in those days.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We keep bringing up Alcon because that was the player in this movie, but they definitely wasn't the only one. At the time, there was other. We're joking and laughing at that, but there was other companies that have been around just as long as Alcon.
Yeah,
also very
longer too,
optometry friendly for sure. Check this one out. You guys, we'll be back with another episode soon enough. If you have any recommendations or for movies that you want us to watch, take a look at and break down and incorporate optometry into it, and definitely let us know. At some point, man, we would love to have some guests on the show. Maybe just kind of break it up and have some fun with it and go from there. If you're interested in that, then let us know, man. But Jacob, any closing thoughts? I know you're heading off to NOA this week.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to NOA. Real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to Holland Eye Surgery and Laser Center, Complete Eye Health, Lakeshore Eye Care Center. Those are all places in Holland. And I'm sure none of those doctors there are participating in the activities we saw in the movie today. So Holland looks like they have some great access to eye care. And so I just wanted to give them a shout out.
They're just giving superb eye care, and they're just pillars in their community, leaders and everything. Hey, maybe we should put that out in the group. Ask if there's any optometrists in the group from Holland that might have seen this movie and see what they thought about it.
They got it. There's got to be, or if they haven't, they got to watch the movie because it's so specific. Yeah, that would be cool. But I was gonna kind of piggyback off what you said with about getting guests. Yeah, if there's any students or optometrists out there that want to come on the show and you have a favorite movie or something, send it to us. We'll watch it. We've probably seen it, but if we haven't, we'll watch it and we'll talk about it. So reach out to us. Let us know. I think that'd be fun to get some guests on.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, even when we were just kind of talking about it and brainstorming and everything, I think there was a lot of, is there going to be enough content to keep it going? I think, especially in the movies we've done up until now, we can find something optometry related in every single movie. In every single movie, man. But if there's anything that you guys want to join us with, or you have any ideas, we're just having fun with it. If you want to join us, man, let us know and we can make something happen. As Dr. Glover would say, we can make the magic happen.
Yep, yes, we can. Yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to it. Reach out to us, guys. DM us, comment. Even if you don't want to come on the show, but there's a movie you want us to talk about, let us know. We'll look into it. So I'm heading to NOA. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just saying we're probably going to the movies anyway, so it doesn't matter. We're
yeah, that's what we do. It's so. But yeah, I'm going to NOA this weekend. So it should be fun. It's in Columbus. Look forward to seeing all the students. I know Black Eye Care Perspective is going to be there. I'm going to participate in their speed dating thing.
Oh, good. I was just wondering about that. Yes, for sure. Because Doctor, I won't be there unfortunately, but Dr. Humes and Dr. Ramsey will be there. And cool. It should be a good time. The speed dating is usually a big hit at NOA, but the NOA meeting is a lot of fun. So enjoy, my friend. Enjoy.
And guess what? I found an AMC that's within a pretty cheap Uber distance away from my hotel in Columbus. So 2 pretty big movies coming out this week, and I think I'm going to go watch them on in Columbus at night.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, man. Until next time, we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Peace out.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Realize Podcast. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok. And remember, don't miss the sequel. Get your eyes checked.
See you next week.